super fucking cool how I guess OnlyFans banned not safe for work content again, or what, or is banning porn. At least they're banning explicit sexual content, but they're all like, oh, it's you're still allowing nudity, but we're fucking but only if it's within terms of service, and their terms of service, you know, their policy bans sexually explicit content. And I love living in hell. I don't even use OnlyFans really. But it's like it's still gonna allow nude photos and videos provided they're consistent with OnlyFans policy, and which bans sexually explicit content. So it's like once again, a lot of people are all like oh, everyone's like freaking out, but they're not gonna ban porn or whatever. It's gonna be like Tumblr again. But here's the fucking thing with all of this is like, this is first of all just homophobia. Switched camera feels more like a cam show. But first of all, it means more homophobia or whatever, because they're gonna ban a bunch of fucking gay shit, and they're like, it's like everyone seems to get the at least in my book, the problem, like everyone with like Twitch and like the whole hot tub stream thing, I feel like everybody kind of was either freaking out because women, sexuality, or they were like, fucking everyone is freaking out because women are getting that fucking bag, sis, and being girl bosses, and we should just calm the fuck down because it's not a big deal. But here's the thing that like pisses me off, and granted, this is a little bit ironic because there was also a reveal, or like apparently dudes can just be shirtless on stream, which I was talking about earlier with Nick. But the hot tub stream thing is, it's like, clearly it's sexual content. Clearly it's catered to whatever. I'm not a prude. I'm not a fucking Puritan. I don't care that sexual content is like on the Twitch main page or whatever. I think they should just straight up allow sexual content, because why the fuck not, you know? But here's the thing, is that they only do it when it's like cis women. They will bend it and be like, no, it's not sexual, it's whatever. But it's clearly sexual content. It's clearly mining fetish content. And they want to keep up their image of it being family friendly. So there's a couple implications here, right? One being that this isn't sexual. This is just quote unquote normal. So it's subtly saying it's not explicit. This is fine. This is innocent. This is innocuous. With that, they're carrying the implication that like cis hetero, like obvious sexual content is like normal, quote unquote. But like, imagine, is ASMR weird stuff getting hit too? I don't know, probably not. But like, imagine if it was like leather daddies. Do you think that like gay men would be able to get away with that shit? Like just that level of clear, obvious like fetish and like sexual content? And like, do you think they would get away with it? No. I don't think so. Granted, I could be wrong. I don't fuck around on the Twitch main page, so I could just be wrong about like what they're cool and not cool with. But it rubs me wrong in several ways. Like, it bothers me because not only does it have that normalization thing of like, which again, normalized sexuality, that's fine. But it's again that like, this is just how it is. And also it's like, yeah, sure, get that bag, sis, but they're only okay with this because it's objectifying women. And that's what keeps happening. So many publications are banning, like the app stores, like fucking banning like Grindr and shit like that. They're banning queer and sex work platforms, but will be like, oh, but Maxim gets a pass. And or like, what was I saying? There was something that like leather daddy playing games would probably be entertaining. I know some people in Seattle. We can make that happen. But it really bothers me that it's not a part of the conversation that the way queer people get hit with it and the way queer platforms and shit get hit with it. And it's fucking incredibly infuriating because everyone will fucking bend over tooth and nail to justify like women's bodies being like sexually marketed to children. And it's like, just like, it's, to me, it's like, stop trying to have your cake and eat it too. And it's particularly insidious when you add in like the hetero element to it, because it's like they're trying to be like, we don't want to be unfamily friendly to advertisers, but we're gonna market women's bodies as sexual things, but try to act like it's not. And it's like, I don't know, everything that's come out of like anything that is panicking about like sexual, like, oh, they're marketing sexual stuff to children. Nothing has stopped them from doing that. They will bend over tooth and nail. Like, they will fucking die to defend their ability to like exploit children on the internet, and will not actually deal with the real problems and do everything they can to further marginalize like sex workers, LGBT people, and any kind of sexual expression, sexual freedom, any kind of like, you know, that sexual education. It's kind of, yeah, but we can't make the kids gay, right? But it's like all that comes of it has come of any of this shit so far has been like they can't just go so far as to like, I don't know, delete Shane Dawson's channel or something. But they're gonna fucking like take every fucking queer dating app off of the store, you know? Like, and OnlyFans is just the latest in the line. It was the same fucking shit with YouTube. It was the same fucking shit with Pornhub. Like the same reason that whole Pornhub fiasco. Now XTube is just gone. They're just like, they just couldn't hack it, because it's like, rather than just actually deal with the okay, maybe this requires a little bit of a history lesson. So back on Tumblr, everyone remembers infamously in 2017 Tumblr banned porn, and that was pretty much the downfall of the whole website. What people don't realize, at least people who weren't there, is that the main reason that they banned porn was because they felt like the prevalence of like child porn and things like that were like too prevalent on the website, and it was too out of control, and they just couldn't do anything about it. However, one, it really wasn't. It was a handful of blogs, and people were well aware of it. The problem was that people kept reporting it, and they would do nothing. It's almost as though they had some kind of reason to keep those up. And it's the same thing with YouTube. The algorithm, so there's this notorious issue with YouTube where their algorithm, if you just go to videos, it doesn't take long for the algorithm to start working in sexually explicit or suggestive content into your algorithm. Sounds fine and dandy, right? Well, what do people like to watch on YouTube? Family vlogs. What do those have in them? Children. Then what does the algorithm do? Sexualize children in like the following videos or whatever, you know, and then recommend like, oh, family vlog, we went to the pool today, and then recommended like, here's more like shirtless children, here's more kids in skimpy outfits, here's more, you know, whatever, right? Now this was like been reported and documented since like 2015. Like, this has been going on for so long, and YouTube, the fix would be easy. People have left working at YouTube because the fix to the algorithm would be fucking easy. They could have done it since the beginning, but they won't do it, and instead had that whole COPPA fiasco. So that's what happened on Tumblr. They just were like, rather than deal with the problem of the child porn and, you know, doing their fucking jobs, they nixed porn because they were like, whatever. And what did that do? One, nothing. It didn't really stop porn from being on the website. It drove a lot of people out and pretty much like hit them in the wallet, but they never, you know, all it did was just make it harder for sex workers that use Tumblr to like, you know, promote themselves and like queer people. YouTube, you know, you can't talk about sexual assault on YouTube. So it's like people can get away with sexual assault and sexual harassment pranks or whatever, but then like you trying to talk about somebody's like you know, bringing light to somebody's accusations or like whatever, that will get you censored. You cannot talk about predatory practices, but you can still do them. And it's just like fucking depressing that like OnlyFans was like one of the only places that like sex workers were like just still could be supported, because it's so much safer for them than it is to like pick up Johns in the street. Like websites like fucking Tumblr and OnlyFans and like just in these communities that allow for sexual content and allow for that sort of thing, make it so much safer to like say there's a client who's like known to be dangerous with the way that they treat women or something, or you know, places to avoid, things like that. Like there are so many tools that sex workers can use to keep each other safe that they strip them away and that are being stripped away. And I don't think that's coincidence. I think the goal is to like, you know, they don't want to encourage it. They don't want to encourage prostitution because they live in the fucking Stone Age. But even then, it's like, I think the hope is that like, if you're not going to stop it, then you're just going to be putting yourself in danger. And hopefully all the sex workers will be killed off. That's a little black pilled, but that's how I think the state, that's kind of how capitalism handles anything that isn't what they want it to be. That's how they handle abortion. That's how they handle, you know, like reproductive rights. That's how they handle a lot of queer stuff. And it's just depressing because I there's so much conversation about it. Even today, I was watching Hassan Piker, and even the fucking, you know, political streamers don't, I feel like, give it the gravity that it's due. You know, like I feel like a lot of people kind of downplay it. They, you know, they make it out to be the girl boss issue, or like the you know, oh, a bunch of incels are mad that they have to see women on their fucking front page. And it's like, again, I would like to highlight that you see women, you don't see like men, scantily clad men. You don't see queer people expressing themselves sexually, you know. And it's just infuriating because there's absolutely no reason why OnlyFans should not want to have sexual content. And it's just, I really worry about what it means for queer people, because it's getting harder and harder to just fucking exist and to just fucking live your life. Damn, I didn't know I could hire someone on OnlyFans. I never knew it had that. Also thought it was just pictures and videos. Damn. Well, I mean, it is just pictures and videos. When I say sex work, I don't just mean specifically like prostitution, which I don't, even the term prostitution, I think a lot of people don't use it, but I mean that to use like literally you are meeting Johns to hook up, you know, people are paying you to hook up. That's not the only thing that falls under sex work to me. Pornographic actresses and actors are also sex workers. I don't know if strippers count, you know, but like erotic dancers, just like erotic performers fall under sex work as well. Same like cam girls fall under sex work, you know, webcam performers. But there were, you know, communities that had the other, you know, the outright like prostitution. And again, if any like sex workers watch this, feel free to correct me on like which term is more apt for that specifically, like the actual process of meeting with Johns and hooking up and all of that stuff. Any community that or resource that they could have had to like make that a safer job has been wiped out in the last like 5 years. And now it's extremely hard to be organized and protect yourself as a sex worker, and really and it's getting harder in every field, because it's like as they shut down OnlyFans, they shut down sexual content. What it's going to do is like how many sex workers who are, you know, cam girls or like cam performers rely off of that as their fucking income, because it is a job, because it is labor, because it is work that people choose to do and there is a supply and demand for. So by cutting this off, because they just couldn't stop, it would just be so hard to deal with all the child porn that gets reported. It was just so much. And not just that they would be avoiding doing anything about the child porn for some reason. Just like it was so hard for YouTube to stop advertising to children and stop funneling people from family vlogs to child porn. It was just be so hard. So they just had to make it so you can't say sex, gay, homosexual, assault, abuse. You can't talk about any of that. You know, they couldn't just stop family channels or stop the people making weird fucking, you know, algorithmically designed videos for children. You know, the whole like Elsa Frozen Spider-Man shit, which is wild because I would think that the copyright of that would matter. There's a couple deep dives on this, by the way, of like people who have like really gotten into like specifically Folding Ideas has a really good video about the whole Elsa Gate thing specifically. And it just really highlights what I mean by like how intentional these things are and how all of them have been. Like the Kappa fiasco, Tumblr banning porn, and now OnlyFans, and like the Twitch hot tub bullshit. it is all very intentional. It is all very, like, they're not incompetent. They are towing a line because they do not want to threaten their bottom line, which is advertising and exploiting children. So, but look up Folding Ideas, weird videos, weird kids videos and gaming the algorithm. He does a lot of digging on some of those channels and finds like that they were manually approved of. It is not just that they slip through the algorithm. Somebody is allowing them at YouTube to continue doing that. And granted, this is outdated now. This was video. Let me find this video and see what it was uploaded actually. Let me just switch back over here to this camera. So this was 3 years ago. I think they took down some of the big name offenders. So this was back in 2017. But this, if look up this video, he does a lot of really good, I guess, investigative reporting on this, where he talks about. Actually, let's just play him. Fuck it. And I might as well really quick. Let me just update my stream thing to just chatting. All right. So remember these? Remember this whole fiasco? Remember these weird videos?
Into a blender. Now that last one is actually repeated twice in the same video, and the other two segments can also be found in other videos. Joker's Magic Fidget Spinners can also be found in this video titled Spider-Man, Hulk, Pregnant, Frozen, Elsa Colors Gummy Fidget Spinner, Joker Prank, Venom, Fun Superheroes. And Pregnant Elsa and Spider-Man at the supermarket is the lead segment in the video. Frozen, Elsa, Pregnant, Colors Superheroes, Spider-Man, Hulk vs. Venom, Joker, Fidget Spinners, Colors for Kids. The point is that the videos themselves are procedurally generated from a library of component videos, which are themselves generated from stock assets, motion capture libraries, and the handful of...
Okay, I think I wanted to get further ahead. Oh my god, Dakota, you've never heard of this shit? Okay, I know everything I just said is pretty fucking serious or whatever, but the silver lining was that this shit was fucking hilarious. Not funny enough to justify it because all of these videos that he's talking about pull in like fucking like 80 million views each. Because this is what your kids were being like in 2017. This is what anyone using kids YouTube was. So people would just be like, open up YouTube Kids. They filter out all the cuss words, and then just give them to their toddlers to fuck around with on their iPads. And and it just was this shit. So it gets like fucking 80 million views because a bunch of 4-year-olds keep watching it on repeat, because you know how 4-year-olds do that. And fucking, you know, I think Folding Ideas has the best breakdown of the situation, I think. And then also was it this one? No. And if I remember, Internet Comment Etiquette of all people had a pretty funny video about these, where he goes into the comments and like shows how it's like mostly just fucking kids just garbled nonsense and stuff. There was another video that talked about this that was that for some strange reason I just can't seem to find now. Oh my god, did they make money off these videos? So okay, you remember how videos used to, or you know, remember how commercials have the like, it'd be like, hey kids, we're gonna buy this fucking butt fuck toy, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Right? And then at the end it'd be like, please only reply if you're 18 or older, like must need a parent's permission to subscribe, whatever. Right? Remember that whole disclaimer? So basically, this has been like people have used the kind of lack of oversight on the internet to just get around that, so they can just advertise directly to kids. Normally there's legal. That was the whole reason YouTube got in trouble. And if you were a YouTuber, you'd probably already know about the whole COPPA thing. But yeah, it was, the whole thing was just like just try to circumvent the fact that you're not allowed to just advertise directly to children. Right? Weird, right? Isn't that weird? How Disney didn't step in to demonetize this? Isn't that weird? I mean, fuck it. We could just watch this whole video really quick, just because it's a fucking interesting video. I was gonna just skip ahead to the part where he goes into the channel ownership. But
Particularly preschoolers are.
Yeah, okay, we were right there anyway. Whoops.
And yeah, it's wild that the stuff made by humans is still just word salad, but you need to keep in mind that the target audience can't read. So the title is irrelevant beyond its function as search engine optimization. Now, there's already something troublesome about the fundamental structure of YouTube Kids. Young children, particularly preschoolers, are prone to watching the same thing over and over and over. A kid may watch any given video dozens or even hundreds of times. As a result, many of these videos have absurdly high view counts with what would, in other corners of YouTube, be suspiciously low number of corresponding likes and comments. This again makes a bit more sense when you consider that most 4-year-olds can, at best, only read a few words and can maybe write their own name. Now, that troublesome structure, built on a foundation of chain-viewing 4-year-olds, gets all the worse when you consider that it's a perfect environment for mechanized exploitation. The standards for the content are already so low that it is difficult to distinguish what is the product of a machine throwing elements together semi-randomly and what is the product of adults who just don't care. The behavior patterns of kids chain-watching videos while not otherwise engaging is also easily replicated by bots. And while there's no hard proof of any of these channels botting, it would be almost effortless to hide if they were. And here's where it really goes off the rails. So, as I've already mentioned, these procedural animation videos crop up across multiple channels. The specific Pregnant Elsa segment we've been using as an example shows up in videos on channels Cartoon Animation Rhymes, Rhymes Lyrics, Cartoon Rhymes, Animals for Kids, Rhymes for Kids, and who knows how many others. In case you're wondering if this might just be a case of simple theft, all of these channels belong to the same multi-channel.
Okay, hold on. This is a bombshell is about to be dropped. But another good video I'd recommend on this, though again, this is not the intention of the video, is Anne Reardon, the YouTube channel How to Cook That. Dakota, I've told you specifically about Anne Reardon before because she was also the one, she's a food scientist and she does like all the like 200-year-old recipes and stuff like that. But a lot of her videos, she got really, really popular this past go. She's been around for like a decade, but she got really, really popular the past couple of years because she started doing debunking videos of like all the life hack channels, like the 5-minute crafts and stuff like that, where they'd be like, food hack, fucking put Skittles in a fucking pot and cook some popcorn in it and you get rainbow popcorn. And it's like, no, you just burn a bunch of Skittles. So she started making those and she did a couple deep dives onto that process and how those are made and the people in control of those channels. And those channels, it's not the same thing, obviously. Like, obviously this is different from the sex work on OnlyFans, but I want you I want the picture, the connection to be made here. The pattern of behavior on the part of these platforms. A problem is identified. It is identified en masse. They refuse to do anything about it for years until pressure builds, and then eventually they say, okay, cool, we're banning queer stuff and sex work and anything sexual content. We want to be family friendly, but don't address the problem. So Anne Reardon does breakdowns there's a video where she does a breakdown of how a lot of those like fake life hack channels are made from the same couple people. And they run like a studio, I want to say in like Ukraine. And it's basically just similar to this, just maximizing the algorithm. And for some reason, they have like direct passes from YouTube, and YouTube's like terms of service deliberately leaves a bunch of loopholes about like 5-minute crafts and channels like that being like, here's a life hack that's 1, fake, 2, actively dangerous for a lot of people. There have been people killed, like kids fucking burning themselves to death because they tried to follow life hack videos that just have them do dangerous shit. Like, you can make a cool spider web out of fucking sugar if you take this hot sugar syrup and put it on like a spinning whisk from like a stand mixer, and it makes like a bird's nest looking thing. But it's like, no, you're just flinging 300-degree sugar everywhere. Like, you know, like just actively dangerous shit. And Aaron Reardon has tried to get them to do shit about it and just is met with nothing, you know, like just a fucking brick wall. So I want this pattern to be consistent, or to be clear, you know. This is the same type of shit that happens with the child porn that was on Tumblr, the child porn that's on OnlyFans, and the child porn on like anything else that has decided to just ban sexual content rather than just deal with the child porn that is reported relentlessly. Okay?
Wondering if this might just be a case of simple
I'd be a good propagandist. I should do this more often.
theft. All of these channels belong to
Anyway, so back to this. Let's go back a little bit, and I want to. Here's the bombshell.
It would be almost effortless to hide if they were. And here's where it really goes off the rails. So, as I've already mentioned, these procedural animation videos crop up across multiple channels. The specific Pregnant Elsa segment we've been using as an example shows up in videos on channels Cartoon Animation Rhymes, Rhymes Lyrics, Cartoon Rhymes, Animals for Kids, Rhymes for Kids, and who knows how many others. In case you're wondering if this might just be a case of simple theft, all of these channels belong to the same multi-channel network named 3HUOX5ATUSRN6HWHOKZJSQ. It's case sensitive, by the way. I guess I'm saying that the odds of them all ending up on that same MCN are low, you know? There are 58 channels attached to that MCN, almost all of them posting nearly identical content based off the same source library. Everything about it screams minimal human interaction. The strategy here is to cast a very wide net with the illusion of diversity. A single channel uploading dozens of videos per day will quickly trip YouTube's spam alarms, but a network of dozens of channels uploading one video each per day won't. YouTube's search algorithms and recommended videos try to give you content that's just like whatever you just watched, but they're also designed to force a bit of variety to prevent a single channel from totally dominating a given genre. The distributed spam technique works around this, meaning the algorithm can deliver diverse results from many different channels while actually delivering results that all point back to the same core entity. But that's not actually even the end of the story. You might notice that I've stripped the audio entirely from all the examples that I've used here, and there's a good reason for that. So here's an interesting experiment that I've already done for you. Re-upload a bunch of these videos and watch the copyright claims come rolling in. I uploaded 5 videos to a burner channel and within half an hour had 32 copyright claims, all of which had the attached policy of a global block. One video in particular got hit with 13 separate claims. That video was actually one that you might be familiar with if you read James Bridle's article, as he included it as an example, and that's Buried Alive Outdoor Playground Finger Family Song Nursery Rhymes Animation Education Learning video. Now here's the breadcrumb trail. That video is taken from the channel Animals for Kids, one of the channels that's part of the multi-channel network 3HUOX5ATUSRN6HWHOKZJSQ. But all of the copyright claims point to the multi-channel networks Mango Kids, Whacked Out Affiliate, and Mobile Walkers 2, with the Mango Kids being the overwhelming source of copyright claims. The important implication here is the disconnect. All of these videos contain content that is rapidly claimed by 3 separate networks, each with a standard worldwide block policy. But the content is demonstrably available on channels under other networks than the claiming network, meaning that the automated content ID claims are either being released or modified. It's not hard proof, but it is compelling, and I feel it's fair to say there is a good possibility that these networks are, in fact, all the same root entity. Mango Kids, Mobile Walkers, Whacked Out, and 3HUOX are all the same people, meaning that whichever one is in fact the originating organization is operating at least 400 separate YouTube channels, proliferating a spam of children's content, programmatically dominating search results and recommended videos. Now, if you think that YouTube is unaware of this, I would point out that the process of getting a multi-channel network with the content management privileges through YouTube is not an automated process. There is no application form. They are all handled one at a time by YouTube's content management teams. These networks are comprised entirely of channels that exist purely to manipulate YouTube's algorithms. So why doesn't YouTube care? Well, because as long as advertisers are unaware of how many of their impressions are coming from 4-year-olds sitting with an iPad on autoplay, then the trade value of advertising on YouTube will remain higher than the actual value, and YouTube will continue making money. The big reason why YouTube takes measures to crack down on egregious examples of bots watching videos is because advertisers don't like the fact that they're paying for ads shown to no one. Now, that said, if we're honest, and if we use the 1980s as an indicator, there's an awful lot of advertisers who are ultimately okay with their ads being bombarded onto toddlers, and plenty of creators willing to churn out low-effort content to facilitate that. Man, that's a downer ending.
Okay, so, it was Eddy Burback. Sorry, that was me thinking out loud. So there's another video that talks about monetization of kids content. So when like these platforms are talking about being more family friendly and being more inclusive, they're talking about this shit. They're not talking about like actually doing that, because then they I appreciate them moving the hot tubs to their own fucking stream section on the website, though that just makes the meta even fucking weirder on Twitch. But in general, when these platforms talk about like being more family friendly or being more inclusive, they're talking about this shit. They're talking about avoiding dealing with this problem, because all of these platforms have this sort of problem going on because we live in hell, because capitalism, incentivizes that. And capitalism incentivizes exploiting children because they're dumb and will throw their parents money at stuff without knowing what they're doing. That's why it's illegal to do it. But YouTube and OnlyFans and Twitch don't care. Literally no money is enough for Jeff Bezos. But the reason I mentioned Eddy Burback is because there's another video I watched with Nick a while back that talks about this too. So the 3 videos I feel like people should watch and keep in mind, and when it comes to these platforms and these issues of like deleting not safe for work content or cracking down on like whatever it is and banning porn or sex work or whatever, I want people to keep these videos in mind. So it was one of Ann Reardon's, and let me actually, so let me go to how to cook that. Let me find which Ann Reardon video it was. But it was folding ideas, weird kids videos, and gaming the algorithm. And it was one of Ann Reardon's. So I'm gonna go to debunking videos. Debunking videos. Which one is it? It's one of the longer ones, so it might be this one. It's the one where it should pan over to Dave after a while. Okay, hold on.
Getting close to.
Yeah, that Rich. We were talking about it on stream. Connor, did you tell me about Rich? She has an OnlyFans. So this one, it is debunking fake videos and who's behind 5-minute crafts. How to cook that by Ann Reardon. This is the one that goes into the 5-minute crafts, how those go. And the other one, there was an Eddy Burback video. Where, and I've not been able to fucking find it for some strange reason. Where he talks about the person who has the most money from YouTube, which is an 8-year-old boy. and the monetization of kids' content. And if anybody can find that video, like, let me know, because I've been wanting to find that, because I've been wanting to bring it up to people. Yeah, I thought it. Did he delete it? Did he delete it? Give me a minute here. I'm just trying to find this. Kids' videos on YouTube are disgusting. I mean, this could be it. I thought it was longer than this.
Hey guys, just a short disclaimer before the video. I plan on making this video all week.
Ah, here we go. This is the one.
2 videos. 2 videos in 1 month. Has anyone done that before? I don't think so. List one YouTuber right now that has uploaded twice in 1 month, and I'll give you $1,000.
So this does another good video breakdown of, I don't know if we're gonna watch the whole thing. Lava is not getting back to me right now because I want him around for when we play Jet Set Radio. But this is another good video to watch. So it was the folding ideas, how to cook that, and this Eddie Burback video. This one breaks down how the most monetized channel on YouTube in history is an 8-year-old boy, and how they have used that to circumvent any like advertising laws about children. It's fucking weird. I mean, whatever. While I'm waiting still, might as well.
Today's video is going to be a little bit different from what you're used to on the channel. I've kind of steered away from exposing things, and I just make what I want to make usually. You know, stranger danger videos, my dare video. By the way, this is actually merch, and it will come in handy today because the things you're gonna see are gonna make you want to say stop a bunch of times. Why are my arms shaking? So anyways, you know, stranger danger videos, dare videos, sex education, bad movies, all stuff that I've been super interested in talking about. But today is very different. The more I looked into this topic, the more sure I was that I needed to make a video on it, just because it weirds me out to my core. I don't know what I'm gonna title this video yet. I'm pretty sure it has something to do with like YouTube Kids and Hulu, but this story is much more than that. So strap in and get ready to hear about the horrible world of online children's entertainment. Before we talk about what kickstarted me wanting to make this video, I do need to stress 2 things. 1, everybody knows how bad YouTube Kids is. That's not what this video is about. You've seen me rant about it before. You've seen other YouTubers rant about it before. And 2, I just need to stress before I talk shit about what this generation of kids are gonna look at. I have to acknowledge that the last few generations have had really targeted advertising to us. Oh, what's that, Mom? Turtles and pizza and weapons? Can we give that company $1 million? Dad, look at me in the eyes. Yep, the car turns into a robot. And also, the kid from Even Stevens is in it. So that's fucking crazy, right? I think it really kickstarted in the 70s with things like Star Wars, where toys and marketing were targeted at kids pretty aggressively on TV. But the internet has changed it into a monster that I don't think anyone could have expected. And that's what today's video is about. Profiting off children. Isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun topic to talk about? Don't you just feel good thinking about that? All right, now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about Hulu. So a few nights ago, I finished rewatching season 2 of Atlanta. So I just started scrolling through Hulu Kids to see what they had on there. They had things, you know, like Regular Show and Adventure Time, which were kind of, you know, slightly past my time as a kid. I would still watch them, but I was like becoming a teenager. And those are great shows. People that are a few years younger than me got excellent television. But current kids today, like young kids, have the worst entertainment of any generation ever. And that became more apparent to me when I saw that Ryan's Toy Reviews, the YouTube Kids Unboxing Toy channel, had a Hulu show. And not only that, it was called Ryan's World Specials presented by Pocket Watch. So already my anti-advertising to kids brain thinks the name of the show is sponsored even? You don't want to see SpongeBob SquarePants presented by AutoZone, Zaboomafoo presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. And especially because Ryan's toy reviews is centered at very, very young children. We're talking toddlers to like 8 years old. Now, if you don't know the channel Ryan's Toy Reviews, I'm gonna go and give you a little voiceover backstory really quick. Welcome back to Eddie's Backstory Corner. So Ryan Toys Review, otherwise known as Ryan's World, is a YouTube channel that was started on March 16th of 2015. It stars an 8-year-old boy and has over 22.2 million subscribers, with over 33 billion YouTube views. Without fail, Ryan's channel uploads a video pretty much every single day. And you're probably thinking, what would compel a set of parents to make their kid work basically a full-time job on the internet? The answer is money. When Ryan was 6 years old, between 2016 and 2017, he was the 8th highest paid YouTuber, making $11 million. Last year, he was listed as the highest paid YouTuber, making over $22 million. That's more than the Paul brothers, that's more than PewDiePie, that's more than pretty much I don't know, all the money in the world, I guess. But about 2 months ago, Ryan faced some controversy. And when I say Ryan faced, I mean his parents. He's an 8-year-old boy. He's not responsible for any of this. At the end of August, the FTC filed a complaint against YouTube because of Ryan's channel. The FTC said that the channel deceptively promotes a multitude of products to millions of preschool-aged children in violation of FTC law. To sum up the complaint, basically what they're saying is that over 90% of the content on Ryan's channel is sponsored, but it's not clear enough for a 4-year-old to discern if it's an ad. If you put "sponsored by McDonald's" in the corner of a video screen, a 4-year-old boy is not going to be like, oh, I understand that Ryan is getting paid to give these views and that his actual views may differ from this. Because, you know, I understand endorsement and he is endorsing this product, so it might not be his normal views. No, instead of that, they're going to eat Play-Doh and shit their pants because they're a 4-year-old kid. So for now, that's all the backstory that you need about Ryan's channel. So now that you're an expert in an 8-year-old's multi-million-dollar YouTube channel, let's check out his Hulu show.
Hey, Watch presents!
Oh, hey, Combo Crew! I didn't see you there! Most of you guys know how much I love Ryan videos.
So immediately we're greeted by this extremely poorly animated panda. And I know if you don't care about animation at all, it looks fine, but it's super lazy. I mean, look at this backdrop. And already, don't you think it's a little unsettling to have a cartoon tell you that they love an 8-year-old boy's videos? Especially when it's voiced by a grown man. Just like, hey guys, you know I love this little boy. Don't clip that, for the love of God.
Behold! Combo's super awesome, amazing, crazy cool Red Titan comic book collection!
In this show, they have an animated version of Ryan where he's a superhero called Red Titan. Now I know you're thinking, it's like, that's kind of cool for an 8-year-old boy to see himself as a superhero, but when you really think about it, it's kind of weird that
This feels weird when I'm not famous and I don't have a chat going through this like a Hassan or an Asmongold or something, you know? But anyway.
They're creating this image of Ryan that is completely out of his control as a child, right? It's a little bizarre that he's not only a multi-million-dollar YouTube channel where he unboxes toys, but now they're taking his image and just some random adults are animating it. There's nothing too blatantly illegal or wrong about it, but it just feels weird, right? Now don't worry, his show isn't the worst part about this entire video. It's gonna get worse. But I still want to show you a little bit more just how low effort this show is. When you watch the episode, you realize, wait, isn't this exactly like those shitty animations that were on YouTube Kids videos that everybody had a problem with? There's nothing blatantly gross or weird about these, but they're so low effort, there's not even really a narrative, and there's not even voiceovers.
I mean, he's gonna get to that,
It's just
I think.
oh, here's this character, and here's this character.
I mean, I guess this is
and
on.
they're playing whack-a-mole. Watch them play whack-a-mole for a second. What is this? For generations upon generations, Kids
Also,
TV has been dedicated.
By the way, family channels, bad. Don't do that. Family channels, your existence is unethical. channels that are directed towards families, but I mean like family vlogging channels rather. Like if you're vlogging your kid's life and monetizing it, don't like, not to be like super preachy and annoying, but like I just it's just a weirdly fucked up, like kids should have privacy, you know? Like I get that child stars are a thing, which, and we all know that they had such ethically treated lives their entire, childhood, but children can work in entertainment or whatever, but like they deserve an extra set of protections, and like family vlogging is like a really easy way to circumvent any of those protections, it's just super fucked up to me to be like making hella money off of your kids when most of them just like don't really, I don't know. It's like, even if they want to, it's just, I don't want to raise a kid who's enjoyed being a vlogger his entire literal childhood. Like that's kind of gross behavior for adults most of the time. Just use your kids for manual labor like normal people. Exactly. It's like, I don't know. It's just developmentally, we don't know anything about the effects of it yet. And it's just, there's no fucking way it's like good for them developmentally, Even a child star, like you don't see that many like reality TV child stars, like they unfortunately exist, but it's very weird, and I just as a side note, fucking don't, like, and also, but most of the time it's like parents making their kids like participate in this like fake shit and then like taking all the ad money for themselves and not paying their kids because there's no union for fucking, there's like unions and shit for child actors, but there isn't for like fucking kids in like vlogging channels. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, look at Disney stars and like just look at Corey Feldman and all of that stuff. Yeah, but yeah, it's just, there's so much to be said there, but that's kind of that's just in addendum to everything that's happening in this video.
What is this? For generations upon generations, kids' TV has been dedicated to at least entertaining them, but for the most part, educating them. Sesame Street takes the opportunity to entertain kids with these lovable characters and also teach them.
Also, I will say, too, shitty kids entertainment has always been around. Like, let's not pretend Transformers isn't just one long ad. But at least the show was fun. Like, it's garbage, but it's fun. I don't know. Like, there is something, the degree to which it's been streamlined, that is unnerving. It's kind of like the difference between old Space Jam and new Space Jam. Like, Drew's video on Space Jam is pretty fucking good. A lot of people need to remember that Space Jam's always been stupid and bad. But it's like, the new Space Jam is like, it just hits different when the thing is like, look at all these different properties you own. And it's just like another just reminder of like the just like, at least when the first Space Jam came out, the consequences of the dystopian late capitalist hellscape we live in like was a little ways away. So it wasn't as close to home. We could still just be like, haha, alien fucking Bugs Bunny. Also, yeah, there's been some legitimately good shit to come out of Transformers, but it always has had this little veneer, like it's just had this undercurrent of stupid because it has at its core an ad. But also, I mean, sure, it's an ad for toys, but sometimes people really like making toys. Like, that's kind of its own thing. There's an art to that, Transformers Prime was a banger. That show is pretty good. I watched the whole thing in like 2013. And I also have a lot to say on Michael Bay Transformers. Well, not really. I just think Michael Bay Transformers is the wrong kind of stupid. But anyway, back to this. Yeah, toys are cool.
Them the alphabet. Cool. Teach them.
Like Boglins, They're great. Like, I support, Based and Sterling Pilled.
How to do math. Teach them grammar and spelling, which is also kind of the alphabet. But this is just flashy garbage to distract your kid on an iPad when you're going on a road trip and you don't want to hear them talk anymore. I'm not a parent.
I do think he has a point here though, because there is a layer of brain deadness that like I think is a little bit unprecedented. Even as far as like bad kids entertainment, which again has always been around. There's always just been garbage tie-in media to sell toys to kids, but those would be like, I feel like unless it's like Transformers Rescue Bots or something, or like Paw Patrol or something, like those are directed at like toddlers, but a lot of the times like the Transformers and the G.I. Joes and the He-Mans and all that shit were targeted at like I feel like tweens, like the 9 to 13 demographic more. But even then, like, they on kids' TV, there's still kind of a veneer of like, might as well throw in some basic arithmetic or like tell them that washing their hands is good. There isn't like the weird like eye contact, like, hey kids, is it Burger King fucking lit? Is like a little weird. Like I don't know what it is that distances itself from it, because like I don't want to be like back in my day or whatever, but there's something different about the level of like complete lack of anything in there, you know?
I don't know what it's like to have an annoying ass child just screaming in your backseat, but there's gotta be a better way than this. There's so much Ryan content that this kid works a full-time job. Like I said, that was gonna be the main part of this video until I started digging in to Pocket Watch, the company that presents Ryan's show and showed itself at the beginning of the episode.
And this is, again, I haven't watched this video in a long, long time. When was this uploaded? So around when it was uploaded, Nick showed this to me. So this was the main reason I brought this up in conjunction with the other ones. G.I. Joe public service announcement at the end. I don't know. Yeah. That's that veneer of like, hey kids, recycling is good. Don't be racist. Like, even though it's the fucking late 80s, early 90s, we have no fucking clue what that statement entails. But this is where I brought it up, and this is why I brought up the OnlyFans. This is why I brought this up in conjunction with the OnlyFans situation and with Twitch and all that shit, is because it's like, again, this is not incompetence. And here is why it's not incompetence and why it is deliberate, or at the very least, an acceptable consequence of what they are kind of trying to do with these like maneuvers or whatever you want to call it, these policies that they keep enacting and changing.
So immediately when I went to Pocket Watch's Wikipedia, and I know some people are like, well, Wikipedia's not really a source. Like, I know your teacher said that, but you can look at the sources right here. It's not my main source for the video. It was just the first thing I looked up. But it says Pocket Watch Inc., stylized as Pocket.Watch, is a digital media studio that specializes in extending popular kids and family YouTube stars and characters into global franchises. Gross! That's super gross. Why would you say that? They're not actively bragging about turning children into global franchises, right? That would be fucking insane. So I went to Pocket Watch's website, and it says on
That's weird. They also sell overpriced cabinets on Wayfair.com. I don't know. That's weird.
the website right away, Pocket Watch is the new studio creating global
That was a joke. No cue. No cue. No cue, bro.
franchises.
Remember that shit? Remember the fucking Wayfair shit? Not gonna lie, that was kind of weird. I don't know if that was ever like resolved or debunked, but that was pretty fucking sus, right? We just kind of stopped talking about it because Q people like took over and just kind of ran away with it like they do because they fucking suck or whatever. They're weird leeches, but like that was weird though, right?
From the YouTube stars and characters loved by Generation Alpha. Those are their words. They are bragging about turning an 8-year-old boy into a global franchise. Am I going fucking crazy? Like,
there's also just some real good plot twists coming up in this. Sorry to keep it.
We already live in a society. By the way, we live in a society. We already acknowledge that we fuck up child stars by making them big and famous. But this is a whole different animal. Because when you're filming YouTube videos, there are no current child labor laws that are enforced on YouTube channels. And I was shocked to find out that Ryan's Hulu show is mainly just repackaged YouTube videos that they animated over as well, which means it's a TV show that was made with an 8-year-old boy as the star without active SAG or child labor laws. That sounds illegal! Also looking at Pocket Watch's website, the first thing that you see is a Ryan mobile Mario Kart clone. He's a real boy. He's not like even a character in a movie that they're branding. They're branding this kid who has no idea what's going on. Who are his parents? Who are they? So on the Pocket Watch website, you can scroll down to a button for press, and they
Oh
say,
no,
see
did I
what
accidentally
they're
show
saying.
my
As in, see
homoerotic
what the press
wallpaper again?
is saying about our
Oh,
company.
it's so embarrassing every time.
The
Damn
first
it.
article they listed, the headline is just a sentence that makes you want to scream. The headline is, Ryan's Toys Review is this generation's Mickey Mouse. Ah! No! Please no! Oh my god! Mickey Mouse is a globally recognized trademark worth billions of dollars. And the fun thing is, he's a fictional cartoon character. You cannot treat an 8-year-old boy like Mickey Mouse, dude. So I looked in more to Pocket Watch, and the surprises, they just kept coming. First thing I want to mention about Pocket Watch is the CEO used to work at Maker Studios. Now, if you guys don't remember Maker Studios, it was an MCN that was originally started by YouTubers and then was bought out by Disney for, I believe, like $500 million. And actually some personal history, back in 2014 before my channel took off, I was locked in a Maker Studios contract and it wasn't good for me. But then as a business, Maker just started canceling contracts, fucking over creators, and then shut down. When I looked into who was funding Pocket Watch, there was kind of a standout name in there that I did not expect to find in a children's YouTube media company. So reading off the list, there's this guy who's an Academy Award-winning producer of Avatar and Titanic. And you're like, oh, that's pretty legit entertainment, you know, going into it. But the main one that really caught my eye is Downey Ventures, which is Robert Downey Jr.'s investment company. Iron Man is funding YouTube Kids. Tony Stark himself is funding Ryan's Toy Reviews. Think about that for a moment. Let it set in. The main Avenger is paying for the exploitation of this 8-year-old boy becoming a business. I don't remember that from Iron Man. So reading into a variety.
Oh, I mean, it is a pretty core part of Iron Man's characters that he's kind of a soulless capitalist, but sorry, not soulless. He gets better. He gets woke by the end and then dies. I kind of just wanted to keep going to the fucking Robert Downey Jr. part, but it's basically, it's just that, like, in general, like, I want it to be clear, like, you know, like, I want to get the idea in people's heads, like, there's that saying of, like, you know, don't attribute to malice what could be attributed to stupidity, and it's like, I feel like under late capitalism, you can attribute it to malice.
Variety article about them getting funding. There was a quote, "There is no other funding team or company better positioned to transform the kids' digital entertainment space than Pocket Watch," said Alan, a digital media investor and co-founder of Machinima. Also, somebody on their advisory board worked at Defy Media. So we have 3 past company employers. Machinima, a company that made a bunch of money, then fucked over creators and closed down. Maker Studios, a company that made a bunch of money, fucked over creators, and closed down. And Defy Media, I bet you can fucking guess, fucked over creators, made a bunch of money, and then closed down.
So that's the part that's what OnlyFans is doing. And they're doing so at the expense of fucking queer people and sex workers because we're the undesirables and nobody is gonna fucking defend them. You know? I say we're as if I'm a sex worker, but I'm not. Unfortunately, not yet. But, like, that is the kind of thing that, yeah, I think people, I don't know, capitalism poisons everything. We live in hell. We live in hell! So that sucks a lot. I guess I might as well finish out this video just because, but I am going to be ready pretty soon here for, Jet Set Radio. I'm going to probably finish this video and then, like, take a break and then come back for Jet Set Radio, maybe with some more food. But yeah.
We should totally trust this company with children and their professional franchises. This sounds fun.
I have no clue what's coming up here. I do not remember this part of the video, but it's got Butch Hartman, so it's probably going to be fucking hilarious.
Now, I had a video last June where
because Butch Hartman is a fucking lunatic and a fucking loser piece of shit. So, sorry. Oh wait, no shit. Lunatic's ableist. I mean, I'd say crazy shit. Whatever. But he's a sack of shit, and everything he does is fucking stupid and falls flat on his face. And I think it's funny to watch. Not because I think his sense of humor is funny, though. Fairly Odd Parents had some banger moments back in the day, but anyway, just thought I'd clear that up before it gets into this.
And Gus Johnson, my dear boy, he's not in his room, but I'm sending love toward the room so I can reach him when he gets back. We made a video about Butch Hartman, the creator of Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents, and some other shows that people didn't watch compared to those two. And he had this weird Kickstarter where he was complaining about how family TV is trash these days and we need more Christian values, and, you know, we should give him a bunch of money so he can make a streaming service called Oaxis. So you'd think, you know, Butch really cares about what children are seeing. He wouldn't just work with a shitty, immoral children's company just to make a quick buck, would he? Pocket Watch has one more Hulu show called Hobby Kids TV, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But the main thing I wanted to show you was...
Bruh, he's a Fairly Odd Parent guy. You have been under a rock. My God. Ooh, there's a rabbit hole you need to go down. Oh my God, Butch Hartman fucking sucks. Oh man. Yeah, he's like a hardcore right-wing fundamentalist, and he, oh my God, he, okay, man, you gotta get into some videos dunking on him. It's so funny. So he, oh man, there's a lot to go over with Butch Hartman, but he fucking sucks. And here's my hot take. Here's my unpopular opinion that I'm like, I was right about. I know there's a lot of those, I know. But mine is that, okay, Danny Phantom was pretty awesome, in spite of him. But Fairly Odd Parents was always bad. I'm just going to say I loved it as a kid. But it was the first show I realized critically that I could look back on, like that I was like, because, you know, when you're a kid, you don't really question the media you watch. You're just like, bright colors, distracting, you know, whatever. It's your first time being exposed to anything, so your standards are low. Fairly Odd Parents was the first show. I remember being like 11 and being like, after having watched it like pretty much religiously since it dropped, like religiously. It's Butch Hartman. It's a fucking sack of shit. Anyway, but it was one of the first shows I was like, hey, wait a minute. I always watch the show and I always feel like shit at the end of it. Maybe this show is bad. Like every episode, I was just like, every episode like makes me mad or just makes me feel gross. Maybe it's bad. And I just like when it was like kind of came out that like he's been just embroiled in controversy for the last couple of years. But like when that happened, like I was like, yeah, the horrible morals in Fairly Odd Parents. To find out that Fairly Odd Parents was made by like a fucking right-wing Christian fundamentalist was the least fucking surprising thing I had ever heard in my life. I was like, because of course it was, because you can fucking tell the way, like the commitment that show has to like not questioning the status quo when the status quo is about fucking abuse. Like, okay, like it's like he has the ability to get out of his abusive situation and the show still makes it goes out of its way to downplay it. And I get it. It's jokes. It's fucking whatever. It's a mean babysitter. You're supposed to exaggerate it. But it was like, as a kid, like, I have this weird thing. First of all, yeah, Timmy Turner's a piece of shit. No one in that show is a good person. Like, I hate it. Like, I was like, you feel bad for Timmy because his life is fucking awful, but then he's consistently fucking awful. Like, oh, hi, Half-Life. But like, Timmy Turner would always just be a fucking sack of shit, so you'd stop feeling bad for him. Like, everyone, like, the only person who was like nice were like Chester and AJ, kinda. And I guess like, who's that girl that crushed on Timmy? But even she sucked too. Like, it just had this fucking really, really mean-spirited undercurrent the whole fucking time. And as a kid, I could kind of tell. And I have this weird thing where people be like, oh my God, get over it, it's kids shows or whatever. But like, as an adult, like if it was like for adults, I wouldn't give a shit that it has like a bunch of like abusive shit in it or whatever. Like, I wouldn't give a fuck that it was dark or whatever. But kids, like, I'm kind of like paying more attention to things that could be offensive in like kids cartoons, because I'm kind of like, but it's being directed at kids who are just going to engage with it less critically by, you know, their nature. Which I don't want to act like I'm endorsing like fucking sack of shit like Steven Universe fans who just you know, act like Minecraft stands or whatever, project all of their ideas onto children's media because that is pathetic or whatever. But this was the first piece of media that I could critically pick up on it on my own was Fairly Odd Parents. So I totally saw it coming that Butch Hartman was a piece of shit because you could fucking tell the way that it was like, yeah, it's just totally fine and normal that like Vicky fucking threatens to kill him with a chainsaw every day. And like that his like, it was like, we're supposed to like his parents, even though his parents are fucking horrible people. And then we're supposed to like, but at the end of the day, the way this is because it's the way this is. Like the episode where he fucking goes back to being a kid, or the one that's a Wonderful Life parody, and they go back to like, what if I wish I was never born, and then they go and they see how everything is, and everything is better off without him, and we're supposed to be like, but it's okay because you're there, and it's bad to say that I wish I was dead. And it's like, that is the most fucking like weird, creepy fucking like right-wing fundamental Christian mindset thing I could imagine. Like it is like weirdly poetic. But yeah, so shocker. So Butch Hartman is a fucking hardcore right-wing fundamentalist Christian, and he tried to kickstart a basically Pure Flix but for cartoons, and just scammed a bunch of people, and is a member of like a weird fucking like fucking insane like COVID denying church or some shit. Yeah, isn't it Drake Bell too? Isn't that from the live action movie where he's played by Drake Bell? But anyway, I totally forgot that this video gets into Butch Hartman like at all. Like I don't even know if I watched it that far. Which by the way, I need to save this video to my references because I keep not. Oh shit, I'm signed onto my fucking, whoops, I'm on the wrong account. But yeah, I feel like I always knew in my heart of hearts that Butch Hartman was like a sack of shit. And also his art sucks and he's overrated. Like even in terms of shit, it's just like, hey, you liked it because you were a kid, but like his art fucking sucks. His art style's hideous and just everything about him sucks. Did you know that he was like super good friends with Seth MacFarlane when they were like early on in the industry, but they stopped being friends because like Seth MacFarlane was like too liberal and too much of an atheist, and like Seth and fucking Butch Hartman was apparently like, I can't support your lifestyle. It's so weird. It's so weird. But yeah, just you should Dakota, you should really go down the Butch Hartman rabbit hole at some point, because there's a lot of fucking hilarious buffoonery and drama and him getting fucking dunked on by pretty much everybody ever, and he's pretty much single-handedly destroyed his reputation. Oh, and he's one of those people that's like super insecure about like himself and his skills. Like he it's just, he fucking sucks on so many levels. It is fucking hilarious to me.
Butch Hartman actually makes an animated show for Hobby Kids TV, the Family Toy YouTube channel. So I clicked on it, and we're just gonna watch it together.
This is a paid advertisement for Carl's Jr. Kids, how many times do I have to tell you? No turning everything we own into burgers.
Hobby Kids!
Super hobby dudes. Awesome attitudes. Hobby mom, hobby dad, hobby kids not really bad.
Okay, so I want to stress right away, they did have the mom say it was a paid ad by Carl's Jr. And there was a little subtitle thing there for about 12 seconds.
And yeah, we should
But the
do that
FTC
sometime soon.
lawsuit I showed earlier is proof that kids that are younger can't really decipher what an ad fully is. So yeah, the mom did say it was a paid advertisement, and it does say it there for a second, but then we go into a fully animated show, and they don't stress that it's sponsored later, and that becomes a problem.
That's your stomach, Hobby Bear?
What? Breakfast was ages ago.
An early lunch isn't such a bad idea. Hobby Kids, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Carl's Jr.!
For real, we're taking kids' content and having your kids' favorite animated characters just go, Carl's Jr.! This is such blatant, scummy advertising to children. If you are making...
Also, again, this is Butch Hartman's doing. This part specifically. So that was another thing he tried to do with his fucking Kickstarter. Like, it was like he wanted to promote Christian values. Because Fairly Odd Parents didn't do enough of that. And also, yeah. No, we live in hell. If you've wondered why I seem more bitter over the last few years and less patient, this kind of shit is why. Because I have been not living. I have been like in the know, and I've just been like, like.
Little animated characters for a 30-second spot on a kid's show, and those animated characters say, let's go to Carl's Jr. At least it's a Carl's Jr. ad. But not every episode of this show is an ad for Carl's Jr. There are other animated episodes.
Whoa! The line for Carl's Jr. is long today.
I'm gonna order a cheeseburger, fries, and a yummy milk. No one makes charbroiled burgers as good as Carl's Jr.
And everyone knows Carl's Jr. makes the best burgers in the universe.
It's so just gross. It's gross advertising. And shame on you, Butch Hartman. Danny Phantom was fucking great, dude. What happened to you? And I think, before we move on, this is what's really bothering me about it. The YouTube kid stuff already seemed super scummy. But it was always just parents kind of manipulating their kids to make a ton of money, which wasn't cool, and we all made videos on it, but at least it was contained to that. What Pocket Watch is suggesting is that traditional media is now adopting this really kind of, in a way, like abusive to children way of modeling things. These kids are
okay. Again, in all fairness, Shirley Temple exists. Like, we need to, it's worth doing research on how child stars have been historically treated by traditional media. Because remember Dan Schneider? So that part isn't new. This is kind of next level in its shamelessness, though. A lot of that, what is different is how behind closed doors it is. But also this just like, let's do an entire animated series that's just people like, this feels like you said, Jehovah's Witness brain indoctrination videos. This shit feels like fucking brainwashing. Like Shirley Temple videos, or like shows and movies and shit back in the fucking 40s or whenever the fuck that was like, okay, yeah, they catered to like fucking creeps and shit and like pedophiles, but like, it wasn't to kids. They were just like, haha, she's funny dancing, haha. Like, it wasn't like, hey kids, do you want to go to Carl's Jr.? Like, this is pretty fucking insane, like this is pretty fucking next level,
working full-time jobs as entertainers, and they have no say in it. It's already bad with child actors, but at least we have an established industry to make sure it's
also okay. If you want to go like Christian values, that's the thing too, is like, it's not, if you want to go Christian values, you could at least just do like a VeggieTales sort of thing, because it's like, as much as like I am all like edgy or whatever, like I don't actually have a problem with like it is worthwhile education to like, for instance, educate kids on like Christian things if that's what you're educating your kids with. I don't think VeggieTales, from what I remember, I haven't revisited that shit since like fucking Bible schools and Sunday schools and shit. But it's not like super brainwash, other than that it is Christian and that it does like, reference the Bible. It would kind of teach them like biblical stories and make them entertaining, but those are still things to educate kids. It is when Butch Hartman says like Christian values, like, which is already like, and to be fair, again, I don't like that, but I will be like, okay, begrudgingly let it go. But when Butch Hartman says like teaching Christian values to kids, he means like capitalist. Like, he means like selling shit to kids, like the fucking like consumption and shit. Because like VeggieTales wasn't just like, come on kids, go buy some fucking Applebee's. Like, like it wasn't like, yeah, harmless Bible verses, no genocides in there. It's just vegetable genocides, which is also what you should be eating on your table like, and for dinner, kids, So even that's educational. It's just, pretend it wasn't real people. But yeah, like, it's just fucking, yeah, when Butch Hartman says like teaching kids, it's just like, there's something really fucking mean-spirited about everything that he does. but it is really funny to watch everyone ever fucking dunk on him. And but this is kind of like, I'm really unnerved to there's the VeggieTales about putting people in a furnace though. I'll have to look into that.
It's cool for them. I don't know if there's anybody looking out for these kids. I don't know if it's just this pocket watch company going to the parents, we're gonna make you millions of dollars. And the parents are like, okay, take my kid for as long as you need. Or in fact, we'll shoot it at our house and just send you the footage. Because this isn't just like Hulu making a show out of it. This is a company funded by the biggest actor in the world, in the biggest franchise. Hulu is a giant streaming service with multi-million-dollar...
Also, fuck Robert Downey Jr. for this. Like, I was kind of like under the impression that like of all the people in the business, like Robert Downey Jr. I've heard is like a pretty fucking good dude. But fuck him for this. Like, and I don't like to fucking put shit on individuals because like we live in a fucking corrupt system. So like it's not the individual's fault necessarily for taking part in that system. I mean, up to a certain level of power and influence, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, etc. But I never really like the thought of like dunking on an actor for like, oh, but Disney bad, but you do Marvel. Like, no, I don't care. I don't care what Robert Downey Jr. does. But this is fucked. Robert Downey Jr., fuck you for this though. Like, this is like, I can forgive the blackface, but no, this is fucked. And so fuck him for this. Like, my mom was trying to show me like a podcast with him in it, and I just was like, the whole time. Like, this is like the kind of shit I'm like,
networks behind them. And Butch Hartman is a classic TV show producer. He created two beloved shows that ran on regular television. Pocket Watch signed a deal with Paramount Pictures to make an unboxing movie for kids. This is a real industry problem now. I don't know. I'm worried that people aren't gonna be as angry about this as I am. So I just really like picture how much you enjoyed playing with toys as a kid. I liked it for way too long. Like a lot of people I've talked to, I would stow a bunch of toys under my blanket in my bed, and at night, I would just play with my toys and run through different stories and use my imagination for years. Like a little too long. I did it until I was like 10 or 11 because I loved it so much. These four, and there are many more children on YouTube having this, are getting completely robbed of a normal childhood. They are not asking to be famous. I know I read an article where Ryan Toys Review's mom said that he loved YouTube videos and he asked like, why don't I have a YouTube channel? And that's well and good when you're making videos with your kid, but when he becomes the highest earner on YouTube, you need to rethink whether you can just use the excuse, oh, it's Ryan's passion. Because Ryan has a Nick Jr. TV show, and he has a Hulu show now, and he has a line in Target, and a line of toys in Walmart, and a video game coming out. Do you think he pictured like, oh, I want to make $22 million next year? He probably just wanted to make a few videos with his parents. I'm almost sure that Robert Downey Jr. cares about kids, but I don't think he knows the extent of what this investment is. I don't know if Butch Hartman thinks it's as manipulative as it is. He might.
Well, first of all, Butch Hartman, we can safely assume, does. Because, like, his behavior, like, his actions speak for himself. But I think, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. might not know that much about it. But it is fucking weird. So I guess I should be more fair to him. And, you know, I'm not one for giving, like, ultra-rich people, like, benefit of the doubt or whatever. Not like it fucking matters whether or not I approve of what he's doing or him as a person. Doesn't matter. I don't know him. But I have an idea. Like, I feel like I could see Butch Hartman being directly involved with this from what I know about that dude.
Might just see it as a side gig. But all of these traditional media people put all their efforts in, and the kids are the ones that are harmed out of it. So, thank you for watching the video, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Okay, and this is also kind of a double-edged sword in a way, too, to talk about in this framing, because there also needs to be at some point a conversation about how the, like, think of the children argument is just homophobia repackaged. And there's a lot of debate about that where it's like, I don't know. Then we'll start getting into the, like, kink at pride type fucking debates and all of that shit. And I don't know. Like, I don't know if I have the spoons to get into all of that right now. So that also is like not the route I think we should go down when it comes to this sort of thing. Like, this obviously you should be concerned for these kids, but in general with like OnlyFans, I don't want to make it out like like sex work should be available for adults to pursue. Period. I am absolutely pro sex work, and it's fucking exhausting and infuriating that still is like. Yeah, we're just barely getting into like introducing fucking universal healthcare into mainstream like political discourse, and like we are nowhere near even like the progressive people giving a fuck about sex workers, and it's just so disheartening and exhausting. But yeah, it's just shit's not great right now, and the point I wanted to make here with showing off these videos is that this isn't incompetence. This isn't something that these platforms are interested in fixing. This is something that they actively choose to do rather than to stop with this kind of shit that you just saw. That kind of shit. Like, they don't want to stop marketing things towards kids. They don't want to stop the child porn trade from going through their website. They don't care. I really don't think they care. And that might be bold to say, but I don't think they care, because I remember like when it was on Tumblr before I left, like a lot of that shit never went away on Tumblr. Like they were like, we're banning porn, but like all the fucking CP stayed. It's ridiculous. Like I just remember like it still was a problem afterwards, but now like fucking sex workers were run off the site. Like now fucking, gay furry porn is run off the site. Like it's just such fucking bullshit. America is destroying the world. Yeah, let me down. So anyway, that was all that. I guess I just kind of wanted to talk about some of that stuff or whatever. Yeah, so I think I'm going to so Lava told me he's like got some like he's gonna finish dinner and like he has some like toys. Fucking just watching that video got it in my head. So Lava told me he's got some chores to like household stuff to take care of or whatever, and then he'll be back to join. So I think I am going to go ahead into the BRB screen, take a quick break, and then I'll be back again and get ready for some Jet Set Radio. Yeah, so that was my little political tangent. I can upload that as a separate VOD, I think. But yeah, so thanks for, tolerating my bullshit on that. Let me, I'm just gonna go switch over now and get some more food maybe and stand up, stretch, all that stuff. Yeah, I'll see you in a bit. I'll be back with some Jet Set Radio future, or not Jet Set Radio future, Jet Set Radio. I'll be back with some Jet Set Radio.